So most of you know the theme of tonight is diving in head first. But the first thing came up to my mind was, what does that actually mean? Well, diving in head first means, this is something I just looked up, to go into something full speed, full commitment, without necessarily checking how much is involved first. So what does this actually mean? Because this doesn't really say anything, right? Wait, of course, what did I do again? That's the thing that I'm going to do about it. I call myself a cultural entrepreneur, which of course still doesn't say anything at all, because I don't really do just one thing, I do a lot of things. Like 4 weeks ago, when I got asked for this talk, I was like, what should I talk about? Because I do so many different things, what should I talk about? So, and a friend of mine, he's also here, Stefan, thank you. He told me, it's really interesting, you come at all these different places, because I'm an entrepreneur, but in a cultural sector. So one of the things I come at are film sets, theater productions that I produced. And most of all, I teach breakdance, but I also organize events and think of new ways, new concepts to do stuff in all these different environments. But how did I end up there? Because I didn't study. I'm still studying. So how did I end up here? And that's actually what we're going to talk about today. So we do all this different kinds of stuff. And the first thing is my first dive. That's how I call it. That's why I call it this talk, Dive in Deep, because I want to dive in deep. And the first step, the first dive that I took was almost 10 years ago. Was when I did my first breakdance class, because I'm a dancer as well. But not everybody who took a breakdance class that day is at the same point where I'm at. So how did I end up here? How did I get here? It's not going to the class. It's the journey towards it. Because 10 years ago, everybody that knows me today sees me as a dancer. Oh, here comes Jaïr. He's a break dancer. Yeah, he's cool, he's a break dancer. Okay, that's me, a dancer, right? 10 years ago, I wasn't a dancer. Far from it. I thought to myself, because back then my brother was breakdancing with a couple of friends, just for a couple of months since then. And the story about how I got to that class is way more interesting and tells us way more about how this shaped me. Because I thought breakdance is not for me, not at all. I mean, I couldn't even stand on my hands, let alone stand completely on my hands. And still, at this one point, I can still remember like it was yesterday. It was the 27th of April, 2007. It still sticks with me until this day. And I was chilling with my brother and a friend of him at his house, which was like 2 blocks away from the place where they were teaching breakdance to them. And they asked me, do you want to join me? At the start of the day, we were still at school. And I said, nah, I'll just go home after we went to a different school to just check out other studies. But we came back, we chilled, we relaxed, and they asked again, do you want to come with us? Because it's almost time, we have to leave in like half an hour, or are you going to go home? Which was like a 35 minutes bike ride towards home, and to the class was just like 5 minutes of walking. And to myself I was thinking, yeah, fuck it. Let's just go. That's what I thought at that moment. And I went. And it completely changed my life. Because ever since then, I decided as soon as I don't have to say no to something, as soon as I don't have a real good argument to say, no, I'm not going to do this, I will do it. And sometimes it's the small things that matter and that you dive into too deep. I dive into the deep. Just last weekend, like 2 months ago, my uncles asked me, you want to come with us to Liverpool to visit some family that I barely know? And I just said yes. And I had a wonderful weekend. So I took a chance. And it paid off. It always pays off. Sometimes you end up in shit, but it still pays off because it's a learning moment. That's why you always have to dive in deep. So that's what it means to me. It's doing something new. It's always doing something new. When I started breakdancing 10 years ago, it was new to me. Also doing something exciting, because breakdance was exciting to me at that moment. Going to Liverpool was exciting. I've never been to England with a plane. My first time flying a year and a half ago was something exciting. And that's where I met like a wonderful amount of people, and also my girlfriend that I know nowadays. If I didn't took that flight to Italy a year and a half ago, which I did, I would not have ever met that person. I would have not gone to Russia a year ago. All these things happened. Most of all, do something that's not you. That's something that I would like to tell you. Do something that's not you at all. Just like breakdance was not me at all 10 years ago, and right now it's something people define me by. So, every time somebody gives you an opportunity, shows you a door which you can take, which you may not have seen before, ask this question. Do I have a reason to not take this dive, to dive in? Of course. There's always a reason. I don't know it yet, whatever. There's always a reason to not dive in. But do you really, really, really have a reason to not do this? Is there something that's way more important? Probably not most of the time. So what do? Take the dive. Just take it. Thank you.